I've already gotten 3 robocalls today. Our producer, Mike Newberg, claims he gets more robocalls than regular calls. How are you helping customers deal with this in a way that your competitors, AT&T and Verizon, aren't?
Well, this is just such a huge issue, and that's what the Un-carrier has always been about. We just figure out what are the big pain points really bothering people in this industry, and we tackle them. And to your lead-in, I mean, these losses that people are experiencing right here during COVID, it's just shameful. Last year, there were 58 billion robocalls placed in this country, and people lost $10 billion from the crimes that were pursuant to those robocalls. That's nuts. And so the industry has just got to do more, and that's what today's breakthrough announcements were all about.
So my question is, how much is it going to cost? It obviously follows the strategy of John Legere announcing all the Un-carriers, which was worth it in all those years, added to market share. But now that you're a different company, a combined, bigger, solid number 3 player, is it still worth the cost of doing these add-ons?
Of course. And, the answer is really, we first just do what's right and solve the pain points. And people love that about us, and they wind up coming to T-Mobile. We're a growth company. We felt compelled during this quarter to update our guidance that we would not do 0 to 150,000 new postpaid net adds, but more like 800 to 900,000. So we're a growth company, and we need to do the things that solve the pain points in this industry. And you mentioned Verizon. I mean, they're profiting from this initiative, and that's what the Un-carrier does. We do some throwdowns to say, look, things in this industry have to change. At Verizon, you pay $7.99 for a feature that would protect you from scams and robocalls, and already T-Mobile is 30% better than everybody else at this. And so this is a huge problem. We shouldn't be profiting from the robocalls that our own networks are helping to bring you. And, so that's got to stop. It's nonsense. So we're giving away caller ID for free to everyone. And most importantly, Scam Shield provides scam ID and scam blocking so that our AI technology in our network will identify those calls and stop them. And every customer is going to get a Scam Shield app that allows them to provide us with direct feedback as to which calls were scams. So, Sarah, next time you get those calls, you'll be able to, with a single touch, tell us they were scams, and that informs the AI engines in our network, and it gets better and better and better. Even without today's announcements, we blocked 25 billion robocalls in the last 3 years alone. And 11% of our traffic was blocked or identified as scam calls just in recent weeks. And so this is a huge issue. It's the #1 complaint to the FCC, and we knew a comprehensive end-to-end solution was required, and that's what Scam Shield is all about.
That sounds tempting to perhaps, label your brother or something like that as a scam caller as well and cause them some trouble. But anyway, Mike, pivoting from that, I mean, is that a key factor, services like that, do you think, when customers are trying to decide which carrier to go with, or is it still much more price-driven? And with that in mind, as you consolidate Sprint, do you really think prices are going to stay where they are, or do you think we'll see a price war arise fairly soon again?
Well, 2 things. First of all, yes. I mean, solving pain points is what's gotten us here. We've done 16 breakthrough Un-carrier moves so far, and each one identified something customers were passionate about, something wrong with this industry, and solved it. And people have followed suit. I hope the industry follows suit and follows us. And what happens is customers give us credit for addressing the big issues in this industry and changing the industry for good. And that's driven our brand. But to your point, look, people want a couple of things on top of all that. They want a great value, and they want a great network. And that's what the new T-Mobile is all about. We are building the world's best 5G network with the unique resources of this new combined company. But we're also going to bring a new level of competition. We have the cost structure to enable it now. And so, yeah, we're going to bring a new level of competition, starting with our unification under the T-Mobile brand coming right up on August 2nd. I think, AT&T and Verizon should be a little nervous about all that.
Well, so how is the integration going? What sort of risks should investors think about there? And what's your latest thinking on the synergies, with Wall Street expecting billions and billions of dollars of that to come at a cost in the next few years?
It's going fantastic. We're ahead of schedule. Now the government did accidentally give us an extra year to plan this merger. So, it's not surprising that it's ahead of schedule, but it's ahead of schedule. Our team has done a phenomenal job under Neville Ray getting this network built faster than we had expected. We already have mid-band 5G. That's that centerpiece of our strategy, the 2.5 gigahertz mid-band. We have it deployed now in 5 of the biggest cities. I'm talking about New York and LA, Chicago, Philly, Houston, big cities. And people are seeing 300 megabit per second speeds averagely, not peak speeds. That's 10 times faster than 4G LTE. And get this, across the country, 23% of our 5G enabled handsets are seeing 5G, 23% availability. We think that's best in the world. You want to know what that stat is for Verizon right now? If you have an enabled handset, 0.4%. And so Verizon's been breathlessly talking about 5G for years now, but the truth is their strategy based on millimeter wave isn't going to reach people the way our strategy based on midband is reaching people, and it's game-changing speed and capability.
But it's really interesting that, Mike, because pivoting a little bit away from T-Mobile, I mean, everyone's expecting 5G is a game-changer for companies like Apple, but even at 23%, if yours is the highest, that's still pretty low to suggest that everyone's going to be transitioning or need to transition or have a benefit from transitioning to a 5G handset until much later next year.
Right. I mean, even though this has been talked about for a while, we're at the very beginnings of the game. This is like 2010 in 4G when Verizon jumped out in front of everybody. And you saw how that changed the competitive landscape through the whole 4G era. They were able to claim a mantle of network leadership. We've jumped out in front of everybody in the 5G era, and customers will be benefiting from that for the next decade. And I think it'll change again, the competitive landscape, as people realize there's a clear leader in the 5G arena, and that's T-Mobile. Now, but everybody, to the premise of your question, doesn't appreciate the benefits of that yet, but they will.
But when will 5G handsets be necessary for consumers across America?
I think they're going to be table stakes next year, and I think we're going to see broad availability this year. I certainly hope we do. And so this is the formative year where already on the Android side, the biggest flagship handsets have 5G, and they have our 5G strategy built in. But I'm hoping that's across the board by early next year or even later this year. We'll have to see what happens in the industry. But it's important, and the networks are here now, and the capabilities are here. And what we're doing is we're building the highest capacity network in U.S. history. And we're finally breaking down that trade-off that people feel like they need to make, which is, am I going to get the best network or the best value? New T-Mobile is going to be uniquely positioned to deliver both to consumers and businesses.